Hi guys, it's Mary McIntyre. Welcome back to my channel and the Christmas themed project. I've got a craft fair, so there's a few things that I want to make for my craft stall. I've been playing with this mould that I got for Christmas last year. It's actually a pair of moulds. Each of them is a slightly differently designed snowflake tea light holder. I've been playing with EcoPore. I'll show you the results of those at the end. Me and EcoPore are not friends yet. We're still trying to figure each other out, so I've got a few issues to deal with there. But these I made using polyurethane purely because I needed to make a couple that I could demold quickly so I can get on and make the next batch. But with those I just added a bit of silver foil into the mould, added the polyurethane, and dead simple, look really effective. With resin products, you need to be super careful about naked flames, so I will be putting a note on these suggesting LED candles and to keep flames away from the resin, just because of the heat really. So the resin I'm going to be using in this video is the Apex high gloss resin, which does have a higher heat resistance, but it's always better to be safe than sorry when it comes to anything potentially flammable. So I'm going to do two that are packed with gold glitter. So I've got three different sorts of gold. One of them's actually more of a bronze, but I think it contrasts well in with these different colours. And that's kind of all the gold glitter I seem to be able to find that I have. I thought I had more, but because gold isn't my go-to colour, I just tend not to gravitate towards it in shops. I want to do one in red as well. So I've got this enormous tub of red glitter. When I ordered it, I had no concept of just how big that was. I've got some bigger glitter chunks in the bottom of this little set that came from the range. And another set that I got from Amazon, I have some really small particles as well. So by adding the three different particle sizes and packing it in with a lot of glitter, you get a really striking result. These take approximately 100 ml each, I think. So I'm going to mix up 200 ml of resin and I'm going to do them in two batches. I've got all my snowflake molds off to the side here and my reindeer mold, so if I do have too much, that's fine. Pretty simple project really. Just mix up the resin for 5 minutes, pack it with glitter, loads and loads and loads of glitter, put it in the mould, and hopefully I'll be able to demold in 24 hours because it's quite warm in this room. I'm just going to put one mould off to the side while I mix up the first one, and I think I'm going to do the red first. So I'll be back when I've mixed up the resin and ready to pour. Okay, I've got my decorations production line going on here. I'm trying to get everything ready for my craft fair. So I used a bit of leftover resin in these snowflake moulds, so I'm going to demold those. They could do with a couple of hours longer, but I need the moulds. So I'm demolding now carefully by putting the mould right side, back side down, and then I'm supporting each of the snowflake petals as I peel the mould away. That way I won't cause any bending or warping. There are a few clear patches that have kind of shown up, which is a shame, but This glitter mix is beautiful, and the moulds are really shiny, so you get a really nice sparkle from these. The red is particularly pretty. I really like that. Oh, these are just going to be so nice with fairy lights next to them. Nice. Okay, so that's like a sneak peek of what these tea light holders are going to look like. Same here, I'm going to loosen the mould and then I'm going to turn it upside down and support each of those petals. I had so much breakage when I was demoulding the Eco Pour with this mould, it was a nightmare. So I'm going to be super careful. Resin won't do that, but it's made me very cautious of the mould. Yeah, the glitter has sunk, but that's okay because you're turning it upside down, so you've got more concentrated glitter on the top surfaces. So while that's not necessarily ideal, it actually works really well in this. It's not affecting it at all. I think it looks really nice. And it's not like there's a line of clear here. The clear line is halfway, well, about a quarter of that. Could have just packed a bit more glitter into the resin, but I think it looks really nice. Now this mould has got more spiky bits, so I'm going to have to be really careful with that one. There we go. I really like these, way more than I thought I would, I'll be honest. They're so pretty. They're so Christmassy, aren't they? You can imagine they'd look great on the Christmas dinner table. Right, I'm going to let these sit and finish curing all the way. Make sure they're fully cured, and then I will take some close-up shots. The great thing about glittering resin is it's in there. There's no way that that's going to shed glitter onto you, onto your table, inadvertently end up down the sink and in the oceans. It's kind of bound up in the resin, so that's great. Right, I will let those fully cure, show you the whole collection of the tea light holders all together. Okay, here they are finished with the battery tea lights in. If I dip that light down, you can see them all shimmering. So these are the glittery ones that you saw me make in the video. Very sparkly. As you move the light around, you can see it's really catching that sparkle. The different sizes and slightly different colours of glitter really just look so beautiful. So I mentioned earlier on that I've made others, and the first Eco Pour ones I did with these, I wanted them to be a subtle shade of green. What's actually happened is some of it is subtle shades of green. The pigment has completely separated out, and I have no idea why it's done that. You can see that there's like a graduation. I actually mixed the pigment in with my water before mixing it in with the powder, and it was a uniform colour when I poured it. So this is something that happened afterwards in the curing process. This one, I added some silver foil into the mould, and it did pick up some of that. So parts of this are way darker than I wanted it to be, but they're okay. They've now been sealed. I have two here that are made out of polyurethane resin. I need to double check what the heat resistance is of that, but with these, when they're for sale, I'm going to give a free battery tea light holder just to be safe. Now the natural coloured eco ones that I did with gold foil, both of those broke when I demoulded, and these moulds are quite intricate. So this one had 3 of the snowflake arms come off, and that one had 1. So I've glued those together, and I'm just going to keep those for me because it crumbled when it broke, so it's not a clean fix, but I couldn't sell anything that's been super glued anyway. But I added gold foil and a bit of gold glitter into that, and the Eco Pour picked that up really nice, so that's really good to know. The other 2 natural ones I used silver foil, that picked up really nicely. I don't think I used glitter on those, so they've come out really well. So the Eco Pour should be fine with a candle, but it could still get very hot. The resin Apex resin from Just For You online. That does have a high heat resistance, but I'm still just unclear about the safety of resin with candles. So just to try to mitigate that, I will be putting a avoid naked flame sign on these, and I will be providing a free battery tea light with them, as I said. Though I do like them. I got the mould for Christmas last year, so it's really exciting to have finally used it. But the sparkle, it's really hard to pick up sparkly resin on camera. I always struggle with that, but so pretty. As I move my light around, you can see the glitter. So yeah, they look really nice all together like this. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you've got any tips on how to stop pigment doing this on EcoPore, please do let me know. As I said, me and EcoPore are not friends yet. Me and the sealer for EcoPore are not friends. Me and the pigment for EcoPore are not friends. But I've got some stuff that's okay, and you know, it is what it is. Resin is so much easier to use, quite honestly, and way less messy as well. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.